What's going on, guys? Fun with Knives back again. Got a CRKT knife to show you. This is the Ken Onion designed Shenanigan. One I've been pretty excited to do a review on because it genuinely surprised me. I was very happy with this knife. I got it on sale at Knife Center for a whopping 25 bucks. So I got a steal on this knife. I think it sells closer to 30 or 32 other places. But this knife's got a whole lot of good things going for it. I have a few criticisms about it, but I'll give you guys the specs and we'll get into the review here. We have a 3¼ inch blade, a 4.875 inch length closed, and then an overall length of 8¼ blade thickness is 0.12, and then the weight is 4.1 ounces. So everything about this knife feels very mid-sized. The blade is plenty long to get your work done. The handle offers a very good grip. The blade thickness is, right where a lot of other EDC knives are going to be. And the weight of, just over 4 ounces is just perfect. Any heavier than that, you probably wouldn't want to carry it. Any lighter, it would feel, too weak in your hand. So if we move in towards this blade here, this is made out of AUS 8. CRKT does do some good AUS 8. I really like this blade steel choice for this blade. They could have done 8CR13 MOV, and they stepped it up just a little bit with that AUS 8. CRKT logo there. Nice wedge taken out on top. I can make the light hit that. That just looks really nice. Takes a lot out of that blade stock, making this a decent piercer. Ken Onion design Shenanigan on this side. It does have a bead blast finish. Now, I know a lot of guys aren't very fond of that, but keep in mind this is a budget knife. They can't get too crazy and give you all sorts of perfectly polished knives. So the bead blast doesn't really bother me too much. It features just kind of a hollow grind here. I can show you that. But for some reason, just maybe the way this knife is ground, it's been one of my sharpest knives. It's so easy to keep sharp, and it's really proven itself to be an excellent slicer. And now it's got the slightest hint of a recurve here as this kind of comes in. It just recurves right there. But this blade shape is just a phenomenal slicer. So overall, very happy with the blade shape. Deployment is by this flipper tab here. A little bit of jimping on it. Not too big. But the action is just phenomenal for the price point I paid. I mean, if we're talking around 30 bucks, this thing's great. Now it's just writing on some washers in there. That's even a Teflon one, and this one, I think it's got a phosphor bronze bushing on this side. But the action is just great. You can do the push button, maybe if I can actually hit it, and the light switch work really well. And I was a little bit confused because my knife is just a hair off center, but it's to the wrong side. Usually your knife's going to be off center this way because your liner lock or your lock's pushing it. So if you loosen this thing up just a hair, the action is just phenomenal. It's insane. But you do get just a little bit of blade play. Right now I've got no blade play and the action is good. So if you're looking for kind of a starter flipper or something without bearings that, it's just really simple, this is a good one. The lockup is an inset liner lock here, stainless steel. You can see there's very little steel within the handle whatsoever. I don't know why they chose to do this, but this liner lock is just so thin. It's so thin. I don't really have a fear of, breaking any of my knife's locks, really, unless I just put them under some super hard stress. But I could definitely see this lock warping on you a little bit. I mean, the lockup's great. It kind of has that CRKT thing where it fits inside the blade tang. It's not like a compression lock, but that's what it reminds me of because you're touching the bottom of the blade tang here and the back of it as well. So it nestles nicely in there, but that lock is so thin. It's got jimping on it, a little bit hard to access, but so the lock, I don't think it's gonna perform any some tactical tasks because you will bend it. It's a thin piece of steel, but for everyday carry or just the normal tasks you're going to be doing with a knife, I think that lock is just fine. Now the handle material, if I can get that out, is PPE. It's a polyphenylene sulfide, and they say it's an organic polymer. Now that's a whole lot of information on a glass-filled nylon-esque material. It's some sort of hard plastic, hard polymer. It's going to hold up well. I can guarantee you that. I mean, this stuff is a tough material. It's got a good diamond texturing throughout. I think it looks really cool. And it's got a nice palm swell. As you can see, it gets a little bit fatter. And it feels really nice in your hand. I like kind of the sculpting they did with it. They almost had some of this chamfered off here and here. It's a Ken Onion design, so your handle is going to be very ergonomic. It's just going to conform to your hand really well. The jimping is not on the spine of the blade. It is within that handle here, and it is very sharp. I don't know if you can see that. If I can bring it closer. That's some very sharp stuff. So when you do deploy the knife or really dig into it, you can feel this. I mean, it's not going to cut you. It's just plastic, but it's a little bit annoying. But I kind of like the grip that you get with that and the finger control here. So ergonomics on this knife, superb. You wouldn't expect anything less from a Ken Onion design. But something bad about a Ken Onion design is this pocket clip. It is one position. It is tipped down. At least it's right hand carry. But I hate this clip, guys. I'll be honest with you. I don't really like bagging on knives, especially ones I've bought, because I usually did a lot of research on them. And this pocket clip fulfills its function, which is just keeping it in your pocket. But it swoops too much. It's fat. It's weird shaped. It's mounted oddly. I don't know. I don't like the pocket clip. I don't need every knife in my collection to be some sort of, deep carry clip like this Cryo. I don't need that. But this is just a little bit too far off base from what I like. So there's your pocket clip, guys. This is closed construction, just kind of the same PPE backspacer there. Very simple design, just kind of 3 screws in there. You can take it apart very easily. And so I think this knife is a great EDC knife if you like tip down carry knives. It reminds me of just a pocket knife. That's the only thing I can say. It doesn't scream tactical or gentleman's carry or anything like that. It's just a good pocket knife. And for $30 or, wherever you can find this from 25 to 35, this is going to be a good deal because you get a nice slab of Aus 8 that is ground very well with a strong handle material that this knife is probably going to last you quite a while. I mean, my lockup's hitting, it's pretty good. So I do recommend the Shenanigan. It's not my favorite knife in my collection. It's a little bit plain for me. There's nothing that screams out that's saying, I need to carry this today. But it's a good, just kind of workhorse folder. I think this would be decent out and, piking and backpacking, kind of your secondary blade. As I said before, I don't think this would be a very good self-defense or tactical knife. That's just my opinion. But I definitely recommend this knife if you can find it, especially for the price I paid for it. So that was my review on the CRKT Shenanigan designed by Ken Onion. So guys, I will be having more knife reviews coming your way all the time. So make sure to like and subscribe.